Well, what's the story? How you getting on? Welcome to Coach Gav Live, episode 66, with me, your host, Coach Gav from Connection and Fitness, desperately needing to brush my hair or do something with it. Anyways, here we go. So, if you're not seeing results, I just realised I got today's programming up on the board there. Tweak. Alrighty, so, oftentimes when we don't see results, there we go. Oftentimes when we don't see results, we end up thinking, we feel this lost, this kind of curiosity, well, if I've been trying A for so long, especially when something starts off working and then it stops working, you kind of go, well, what have I done wrong? It's like, what can I do differently? So, and that's something that so we've had KSF, I keep mixing it. We have a Connection and Fitness opened up under different titles for about 3.5 years, just over 3.5 years. And we started off and I had a vision for what I wanted the studio, the gym to be, in terms of how we would run it, the sessions we would do, the systems and the structure we would have, how we would coach and support our members as we go along. And that has, changed as times went on. We tried different things. Some of it worked. A lot of it didn't fucking work. And that's right, bin it, didn't work, bin it, didn't work, bin it, didn't work. And that can be really tough at times. I found it was quite tough because all of my eggs are in this basket. Happily, might I add. But again, like I said, there's a huge kind of struggle that goes with it. So it is quite tough when you're giving your all to something, when you're giving your time, your effort, your resources, you're dedicating yourself to getting a result. You guys probably aren't setting up gyms or studios, I'm gonna guess. But for me, when I refer to the gym and the business, it would be the same as you refer to, say, gaining muscle, losing weight, improving your strength, changing your habits. So it is quite tough that when you go and you spend so long and so much time, you work and you give up some things and you take on new challenges that make you uncomfortable. You do all these things and you're just not quite seeing the results you want. And, at a certain point, it's not a case of picking option A or option B or picking this or picking that. It becomes down to picking between T and O. And T stands for tweaking, O stands for overhauling. Okay? So sometimes we need to tweak our approach. Other times we need to overhaul it. And knowing where you are on that journey is something that having a coach can help you with, because it's a second set of eyes. It's someone from a non-biased perspective can look at and be like, okay, you need to see, yes, you're changing, but you're only tweaking when you need to overhaul it. And you'd be like, okay, no, you're trying to overhaul everything. You don't need to do that. You just need to tweak it a little bit then as well. So imagine a recipe. We all have recipes that our parents or our grandparents did, and you go, well, let's say you tried a recipe and it's nothing like you remember, then you probably need to overhaul it. But as time goes on and you try and you repeat it all, the recipe gets closer and closer to what you remember it being like, closer to what you want it to be like. And then it's just a case of tweaking it slightly, a little bit of this, a little bit less of that, a little more of this, a splash of this, and a pinch of whatever. And that can happen with, weight loss. It can happen with anything in life. So, getting better at coaching, okay? Some aspects of what I do, I know I need to overhaul it. I can't be, and when we talk about overhauling, folks, we're talking about looking at the structure or how you used to do things before in life and completely burning it to the ground and fucking it off to the side. You don't need, because what happens here is that when we do something, we get sentimental or emotional, there becomes an attachment to it. Well, this is going to be an awful screen grab if someone does it. We're holding on to something and it's, well, I've always done it this way. Here's how I've always done it. I'm only used to doing it this way. And most dangerously, I'm comfortable doing it this way. But you're telling me you want this stuff over here. And none of us, anyone, we can't hold on to the parts of our life that doesn't work and still expect to get something different. The definition of insanity is if we always do what we've always done. No, shit, I mixed up quotes there. That's not me having a wheeze, there's a pipe in the corner. We can't expect, oh shit. Yeah, the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again. There we go. The definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again and expect the result to be different. Like, watch this. Please God, this marker shut up. 1 and 1 will always equal 2. Okay? 1 and 2 will always equal 3. It doesn't matter if we change it and we go 2 plus 1 will still equal 3. So what needs to, if we're not happy with the result, something in this process, in this formula, in this system needs to go and change. So we can change the numbers, we can change what we do with the numbers. So let's see, if we go 1 minus 2, oh, minus 1. So we now have a different result. And let's say that result isn't what you want again. You can go 1 multiplied by 2 is 2. Foundation maths for the Leaving Cert. You're welcome. Okay, different result again. We can go 2 minus 1 is 1. There's a different result. So you see what we're getting at. I really hope you see what we're getting at there. But like I said, we're here to talk about tweaking and overhauling. So on kind of our coaching call that we had earlier on this week, that's something that Paul, my coach, brought up to me. Was that, and so we've been in Unstoppable now we're into our 4th week, okay? And I was seeing some results in some areas, and I was just not seeing any progress in other areas. Firstly, because it was down to my actions or lack thereof. And that's another thing as well. Before we have to decide between T and O and A and B, if we're not getting results, it absolutely comes down to your actions. What you're doing, what you're not doing. How consistently you are doing something, how consistently you're not doing things. So don't be that person that isn't getting a result, but is sharing the blame, delegating the blame elsewhere. That's a bullshit move. That's not cool. It's also really bad for you because then you kind of realize, when I look back at any times I've ever struggled with situations or getting results, I realize that it comes down to my actions, what I do and don't do, what I study and don't study, the conversations I do and don't have. And when that realization sinks in, you go, okay, so I've got the key. I've got the secret. So it is something like that where you go, okay, well, it's on me. By and large it is, okay? So but you might be thinking, yeah, but Gav, what if my boss is mean to me? Or what if the people in work are shitheads? Or what if I get overlooked for promotions? Or what if my partner doesn't support what I'm doing? Or what if my kids are an absolute nightmare and it's so tough? That's fine. You might not be able to control any of those situations, but you can control how you react to them. So, because every system out there works. What I do works. There's 25, 26 different versions of a fitness facility in Newbridge. Between leisure centres, bigger gyms, personal trainers, boot camps. There's so many. They will all work to some extent for some period of time for some people. And in some cases, a person will start off somewhere and there'll be a perfect match. I've got people here with me for nearly 3 years. So that's a good sign that kind of, for me and them, we're a perfect match. Like pineapple on a pizza. And if anyone out there feels that pineapple doesn't belong on a pizza, I don't think you should follow the page anymore. Joking. No, but seriously, pineapple does belong on pizzas. So to kind of not go on too long, as we were looking through it, as I was kind of noticing, what happened was I was doing this. I was holding on to ways that I had been doing business, the systems I used to have in the gym. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do these because I was comfortable doing it. But the reality is, my comfort and my attachment, especially my sentimental, my emotional attachment to how I was doing things, was causing me to miss out on results and progress. And that's such a big problem. Holding on to how we used to do things, or should we've always done it like that? Well, guess what? If that's no longer, yielding a result, or if it's no longer providing progress, then why the fuck are we holding on to it, lads? Why are we still trying to do things because, it's always how we did it? Well, that doesn't mean it's always how we need to do it. Like, I mean, my daughter's 6 now, so by the time she becomes a teenager, how she is growing up now is different. How my mother raised me will be different than how I raised my daughter, because, when Freya's 16, I'll be old as fuck. But I mean, but the world and the society she lives in will be different. Like mobile phones weren't around when I was a teenager. But again, they're prominent now when Freya is. So again, it's coming at it from a different way. So again, that's what we're talking about the sentimental attachment. Well, this is how I was brought up, so this is how I'm going to bring up my kids. Okay, yeah, you can kind of do that to some extent, but then other times you can't. So tweaking and overhauling is what I want you to take, what I would like you to take away from today. Is that, and like, if you're new to fitness, if you're new to kind of giving it a go, if you're still within that first kind of 6 to 9 month, 12 month window, there's kind of, a lot of times it's just your consistency that's lacking if we're missing results. Other times, for those of you that are a bit more experienced, a bit more well versed in it, you've gone a bit deeper into kind of coaching and training, then it might be a case that you need to tweak or overhaul your approach. Oh, well, and that's kind of one thing we get here. When we assess people, well, when I was younger, I used to do this. Okay, cool. We probably don't need to do that now. We might keep some of it, but we're not going to keep a lot of it or all of it. So, and as soon as Paul said it to me, I was kind of going, that's it. I was only tweaking my approach, when in reality, I needed to tear that bad boy down, burn it off, sweep up the ashes, put the ashes in a golf ball, hit the golf ball into the ocean, blow up the ocean so those waves never come back. Because the reality is, when I look back over the last 3.5 years, those systems were okay, but the results weren't. So if the results aren't okay, why are we still doing something? I give you that one again. If the results that we're getting aren't okay, if they're not good, if they're not what we want, if they're not improving our life, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, drop the spiritual one, okay? If they're not improving our life, why are we still doing things the same way? That's one of the first things we say to people when they come here. It's like, it's not going to be torturous. It's not going to be miserable. You're still going to be able to live your life. But some of the things you're currently doing, we'll need to stop. You can't keep doing. You can't keep staying up super late, not getting enough sleep, and expect to lose the fat you're looking to lose. We can't expect you can't expect to kind of be eating well Monday to Thursday, and then Friday to Sunday it's a fucking free for all. So certain parts of it have to change. They don't have to go away, but they do have to kind of you need to kind of maybe drop off doing that or stop doing that then as well. So, where do you need to tweak your approach? Where do you need to overhaul it? Okay? And if you're not too sure what it is, there's this really cool thing you can do. There's a message us button somewhere up along the top here. Message us. Let's have a chat. Hey Gav, this is what I'm doing. Love your beard, by the way. But I'm struggling with this. What do you think? And then we can start a conversation. And the conversation can often lead to shining a light on, okay, well, try these possible options. For those of you who don't know, I have a bit of an issue with my right eye. I can't really see out of it too well. And it's been going on for 4 years in September. And you kind of go, that's a long period of time. But when I went to the eye and ear, when I went to the specialist, they were like, okay, it could be any of these things here. And you're like, great. And we've been working our way through trying to figure out what exactly is the problem. And so they would treat one thing, didn't work, treat didn't work, treat didn't work, treat didn't work. So that's going to end up for you too, where you start off doing one thing and you might make a little bit of progress. You go, yay, progress. And then you go, oh, no more progress. That doesn't mean you go, fuck this. It just means, okay, where do I tweak it? And then you tweak it, make a little more progress, but then the progress that cycle continues. A little bit of progress, stop. A little bit of progress, stop. That's also how I dance, by the way. But if you end up getting sick and tired of it, where you're kind of going, okay, well, there's no continuous progress, then you need to go, okay, I need to overhaul that. Let's go back a little bit, or let's start afresh and go a new way about it. Right, folks, I am off. Take it easy. Any of you, there's 48 hours. Well, there's less than 40. There's 47 hours and 45 minutes left to sign up for the next season of The Biggest Loser, starting this week. Well, it started this week, but we're closing down the applications on Friday coming. So Friday, 12 o'clock, that's it. It's done. The program's closed until late April, early May of this year then as well. So if you're interested, you'll see all the ads over Facebook. I'm spamming the bejesus out of it, okay? Or you can just, again, message us. I'll send you the link. Fill out your form. There's 2 spots gone. There's 10 left. That is it. Take it easy. God bless. I'll talk to you all soon.